It used to be we would walk into a restaurant, we'd know 75% of the people in there. We walk into a local restaurant now, and it's just a handful that we know. And that part is sad.
Danielle Childers has fond memories of the county she grew up in.
It was always such a home, just a small community.
That small town charm around York County is slowly disappearing as each housing development is being built.
And that's one thing that a lot of residents here fear. They don't want to lose. They don't mind the growth as long as it doesn't reduce the that hometown feel.
Growth has been a constant for York County for quite some time. The latest census numbers show a 3-year population increase of 5.8%, on par with several counties around Charlotte. Just not their South Carolina neighbors to the east, Lancaster County, which grew twice as fast in the same amount of time.
I think the new numbers represent that we're on our continued path to great population growth.
David Swenson is the Economic Development Director in York County. He says comparing growth in York County and Lancaster County can be deceiving, since York's population is more than double Lancaster's.
I think our pace is a slow, steady, something that we're used to and have been for the last decade.
About 3/4 of York County's population is along I-77, Rock Hill, Fort Mill, and Tega Cay. Swenson tells me many of those cities are juggling between growth and maintaining a sense of hometown community.
So in Fort Mill, for instance, you have the Strawberry Festival. In Rock Hill, you have the Come See Me Festival. Tega Cay, Lake Wiley, York, all of our communities have something niche that has been a part of them.
As those communities start to fill up, it makes way for growth to the western part of the county like York and Clover. Big businesses following, including along Hands Mill Highway, the future site of QTS data centers, a $1 billion investment in the county.
The growth over the past 2 or 3 years, how it has exploded.
Childers is not only a lifetime York County resident, she's also the owner of Homeland Realty.
You know what I hear more than anything? Find me land where I can have chickens. I hear that more than anything. They don't want the HOA, they don't want restrictions.
Gaston County, or as Steve D'Avria calls it, the final frontier.
They've gone north, they've gone south, they've gone east, so now it's time to go west.
The newest census numbers show Gaston County grew 3.8% in a 3-year span. That would be impressive growth for many counties around the country. But when you compare it to the other 6 counties that border Mecklenburg, no one grew less.
There's still that challenge into crossing over to get to Mecklenburg County. There's only 4 access points.
We are in line for some pretty substantial infrastructure projects from the state.
Gaston County Economic Director Donnie Hicks points to a project that will widen 85 to 8 lanes from Belmont to Gastonia. Plenty of places to live are popping up in Gastonia, especially around the stadium, where developers are looking to hit it out of the park.
Created a niche for people that may want to invest in those types of properties but are closed out from somewhere like South End.
Gastonia is taking a page from the Chronicle Mills apartment in Belmont. Instead of knocking down a piece of history, it's writing a new chapter.
We have buildings here that are over 100 years old that have stayed here that we've been able to refurbish, make them better, make them stronger.
These are all actually individual prescriptions that came through the pharmacy.
Alchemy Co-working is the newest business to move to downtown Gastonia.
We have about 40 members, and we've been open for a couple of weeks.
Kiana Trujillo's shared workspace is now bringing in young professionals where Smith's drugstore stood since the Great Depression.
We start with shared space. That's the way we get you in the door. But really the thing that we're trying to drive here is a community that works together.
Trujillo shares a similar feeling to Hicks. It's hard to be a great county without jobs.
We've had strong job growth. We've had a lot of new companies that have located here that have brought people with them that have chosen to live here. And we had almost 10 million square feet of industrial space built in the last 2 years.
Growth in Union County is on the rise.
The county has grown so much.
J.R. Rao was born and raised in Union County.
I can easily remember when there were 40 or 50,000 people here.
Rao is now the chairman for the Union County Board of Commissioners.
Now we have, 250,000 people. With any growth, it comes with some good things and some not so good things.
The good is a growing economy, bringing in plenty of new business. The not so good, drastic influx of high-density housing and, of course, traffic along the western part of the county. In the more rural eastern part of Union, Rao tells me that utilities, clean drinking water, and preservation of agriculture are top of the priority list.
Even though it's one county, we have different issues in different areas of the county.
The census shows the county as a whole grew 7.5% in a 3-year span, pushing the population to 256,000 people, making it the second biggest county in our area and the 8th largest in the state. Indian Trail is a big reason why its close proximity to Charlotte has made it a cheaper and still convenient place to live. Yet it's Waxhaw seeing some of the most impressive growth in the county. A town once well known for its furniture store
You will pay too much. Waxhaw!
is now a town known for new business, new homes, and same old traffic as you come into town, which will get worse with each new development.
It's a big concern. The oversaturation as a result of townhomes and apartments is a huge concern, especially when you get closer and closer to downtown.
Waxhaw's new mayor, Robert Murray, tells me there's not much that the town can do to help with the traffic, especially along Highway 16, because it's a state road. Their one response is to attempt to control the new builds.
One of the things that the town of Waxhaw has done a really good job is implementing a lot of mitigations or kind of mandating mitigations with new projects.
Murray credits the historic downtown, coupled with a low crime rate, as a major draw for a town that added 10% to its population in recent years. And with an additional 1,200 homes in the process of being built, that number will grow for the town and the county.
It's going to be more crowded. It's going to be more crowded. It's 10% at least. So that's what we're going to see in the next 5 years.
There's an old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. Very few cities in the country are growing quite like Concord.
My view of life has been you either grow or you fade away.
Concord's Mayor Bill Dush can look right outside his office to see that growth. With multiple apartment complexes being built, the mayor expects more than 1,000 people to live downtown in the near future.
We've been not trying to overgrow, but trying to keep it moving in the right direction.
A study last year from the financial company Smart Asset showed a 5-year growth of 19.4% for Concord.
Mine's from northern Italy.
That's around the time Andrew Angel moved to Concord from Ohio after getting a job within the city. 7 years later, he's now a part of the downtown. At the start of the downtown construction sits his new business, the Cellar Door Wine Shop.
One day we were just kind of walking through town and we said, you know what, this town needs a wine shop, and there we are. I think that the entrepreneurship in town is just bubbling over right now.
Entrepreneurship and big business in Cabarrus County is what longtime County Commissioner Steve Morris is hoping for.
The biggest challenge that we have had is trying to work to make sure that Cabarrus County doesn't just become a bedroom community of Charlotte-Mecklenburg.
Beyond Concord, Harrisburg and Kannapolis are helping in the county's population boom. The latest census numbers show a 6% growth from 2020 to 2023. Morris says many moved to Cabarrus County for the schools and cheaper homes while still working in Charlotte.
Most everyone realizes that residential growth does not produce enough tax revenue to cover all the services that are required, particularly in the area of schools.
The new addition of pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly to Concord on Highway 29 is exactly what the city and county was looking for. 600 high-paying jobs with the hopes of it going to those who live in the county.
Rowan Cabarrus Community College and some of the other schools to do training programs so we can hire from this area for it.
House after house, apartment after apartment. The streets of Iredell County are lined with cookie-cutter homes. Many are being built. Many more are already filled with the county's newest residents.
But our biggest problem is just overcoming the out-of-control residential growth. We've got to get control of that.
The growth from Mooresville to Statesville is the biggest reason for the county's 7% growth in 3 years. County Commissioner Burt Conley would like to see that growth cut in half.
Land use plans, change it. Change your zoning. You know, if you can put 100 houses there, cut it, you put it 75 to 50 homes there.
The high-density cluster developments are putting a drain on county resources. Just ask County Manager Beth Mull.
One housing development with 1,000 homes in it, that could, in a district where a school is already max capacity, that means you've got to build another school.
Mull tells me scenarios like that make it difficult to plan for the future.
But when it happens so quickly and it's so rapidly, You transition from being proactive to having to be reactive. And that's just not a good situation to be in.
The county just surpassed 200,000 residents this year. Mall projects the population will increase another 10% by 2029 as more New Yorkers and Californians are retiring to Lake Norman for the views, cheaper property, and one of the lowest county tax rates in the state.
We're a conservative county and we're very fiscally responsible. But at some point, we're going to have to look and say, okay, how do we afford to accommodate this growth, keep up with this growth, and how do we do it on a 50-cent tax rate?
A tax increase isn't in the immediate future, but it's been tossed around. Mull and Connolly agree there's another approach to bring money to the county. It's by holding developers accountable with a common charge used in other states called impact fees.
That way these developers coming in, they got to pay for a little bit of this infrastructure, pay for this type of stuff. The state's not going to allow that to happen because those folks are the ones who are the big campaign contributors to their campaigns in Raleigh.